This week we are going to be drawing an ear, and it's a bit weird because I can't really give you any sort of tips or tricks on how to do this because an ear is literally just folds of flesh. An ear is different on each person, as with any other feature, and the sort of basic shape is like, these are all side on, but say if you did it head on, you've got this little bit here that sort of attaches to the face, and then you've got this section of skin, you've got the earlobe down here, and then you've got this like Y shape that is different on everybody again. That's sort of what it looks like, and then here side on we've got the same sort of thing but more folds even. So you've got this bit again, you've got the Y shape, and then you've also got this bit that comes down into the flat section of the ear there, and then you've got the ear canal that goes into there. Okay, all I can say to you is use an image and try to make it black and white, because then when you're drawing it you can see the tones more easily. And then literally what you're going to do is to just copy the shapes that you see. This top section is like a circle. I suppose there is sort of a way I can break it down for you. So a circle at the top here, and then this like, I don't know, flat ice cream cone sort of shape, and then you adapt that to the shapes that you see in front of you. What's also a good thing to do is for, say, this line here, I'm going to place my pencil next to that angle on the ear, and then place it next to the line that I've drawn to check if it's right. So that first initial sketch was completely wrong, which is fine. I'm just going to adapt it. And that's why sketching is just so good, because I can now rub this line out and you would never know I made a mistake. And then this earlobe's quite fleshy. And then as I sketch in this top line, you might want to just sketch in sort of roughly where it goes. But then also you need to look at the actual shape of it. So that bit there is quite flat. And so as I go along, I'm just going to adapt those shapes so it looks more accurate. Then you've got that Y shape in here. This bit here is much thinner than this bit on this image. So that needs to be shown in the thickness of the line. And obviously these aren't lines here, it's just a change in tone. So again, I'm just sketching this in so that I can add the tone in later. That there is like a bit of tone, and then this is actually the bit where it's the top. And then sort of goes like that. It is literally like several folds of flesh. Okay, so that is my rough shape. I'm now going to start to add in the tone. Normally I would start off with the lightest tones and build up the darkest tones, but I'm just going to add in the dark tone here, and you can work whatever way you like, but this is going to be the darkest section here and a little bit in there. So I just want to add that in so then I know how light everything else needs to go, and normally I'd work the opposite way. So I'm just going to add that in, and now I'm going to start with the lightest tones. So what I normally do is I just add a hatching line at like a 45-degree angle over everything. And if you've got like different shades of pencil, I would normally do this in a 4H just because that's really light. But what this does is gives you like a base tone over the whole section you're going to add tone to, and then everything else has to be darker than that, and then these highlights here could be added in with a rubber later. And then I'm just going to neaten up some of the sketching lines that I've made, and then start to add in some tone. And as I go along, I'm following the contours of the shapes. So I'm following the diagonal of all the shapes that I can see. If you've got softer pencils, I've got a tin up here. Then you're able to get those darker tones in more easily. And then also you can adapt your shape as you go along. So here I've looked at the negative space here and the sort of angle of this line. This is much lower. Yeah, it's more like that. So as I say, you don't want to have any sort of lines by the end of this. You literally just want to have changes in tone to show those folds and the forms that you can see in front of you. Anything that's darker will get pushed back. Starting to build up the shape now. such a weird looking thing, isn't it, on its own? And then obviously once you've done this, you might want to set it in a space so it doesn't just look like a weird floating ear. So you might want to add in the hair, this sort of dark tone here where the hair is, or where the shadow falls. You might want to add that in so it doesn't look like it's like a random thing. So you might want to add in could even just like copy that box exactly. Like that. And then there's that tone on the face that suggests that that sort of curves inwards. And then I want to get rid of that sketching line there. Then that is nearly done. Okay, so drawing an ear. Weird thing to do, but a really good skill to practice, because it's quite an alien shape, and so to try to sketch out those lines and those folds and then to tone those folds is quite a tricky thing to do. So hopefully this video has helped you. As I say, it's quite hard to give you any sort of tips and tricks. It's all just about looking at where those tonal changes are, and I would even go back into this and sort of add more tone, but I can see the time on the video, so I'm going to stop. Hopefully you can get to grips with that. If not, get an image and then just trace it, or but try to copy it, because that I can already see that this is wrong. So that line there needs to come out there, and so I would need to rub that section out and adapt it. And so it's all about looking and checking and learning from your mistakes. But hopefully this video has helped you a little bit in getting to this sort of stage.